I'm here to tell you that it's time to buck up. It's really time to learn all of those things that you've always said you wanted to learn. I came to the conclusion some time ago that if I don't know something, I cannot teach it. And it's something that I teach all of my managers and leaders in my system because, frankly, we cannot move an entire initiative forward without having teachers. That's part of the reason that I'm doing so much educating on this channel and on my private time. But the reality is, most of us aren't willing to spend the time to learn the thing that we're trying to teach. Most of us are spending time believing that institutions and colleges, those people that haven't even accomplished the things that they're teaching, are actually going to be able to give us the true grit methods that actually work in order to achieve the goals that we want. I'm here to tell you that it's time to buck up. It's really time to learn all of those things that you've always said you wanted to learn, because it's not for us, it's for the other people. It's for the ones that will help us in the initiatives moving forward. And I say this in kind of a unique sense because a lot of people believe that at the end of the day, you need to do everything yourself. Small business owners from 3 million and below in gross revenue really don't understand that in order to get to the point where that business actually works for them, they need to be able to be great teachers. I got a doctorate in dentistry. Doctor in Latin means teacher. The funny thing about it is that only a small percentage of what we were taught was our ability to teach people. So I wanted to break into that a little bit today. What does it take to be a really good teacher? And I'm still working on it myself. However, I've picked up some tools and tricks along the way through my passion and through my dedication to my students, the people that actually care and want to learn more. Because frankly, I've always wanted to care and learn more. And I've spent a lot of time finding mentors in my life so that they can teach me the things that they have accomplished. So one of the basic tools of teaching, first and foremost, again, is to do it yourself. Achieve something that you are teaching yourself. And for me, on this channel, I teach about emotional intelligence. I teach about philosophies of spirituality, of peace. I teach about scaling operations. And there's always levels to it, my friend. There's always levels to it. If we convince ourselves that we have hit the highest possible that we can, we're no longer humble. We're no longer willing to learn. And the greatest tool of a teacher is to be a great student, to constantly be looking for more ways to grow that one thing that we started, that two things that we've started. So I say to you, the first step is learning your craft and getting really exceptional at it. Ideally, one of the best around. The second step is our ability to communicate, to break down those steps in a way that a novice could understand. And the way that I often phrase it is, break it down so that if a 5-year-old walks into the office, that they can look at this stuff and understand it. Now, it's a bit of a stretch because a 5-year-old might not know how to speak or read English, but at the end of the day, the comprehension level needs to be that simple. And the greatest teachers, the ones that have actually achieved that amount of success, will be able to break it down simply. And that's really the true test of whether or not we know something well enough. My managers are expected to put together entire manuals. Currently, as I am scaling the practice, on what it means to be a dental assistant, on what it means to be a front desk manager, on what it means to be a biller. All of these intricacies are bound into what they're expected to do, because abundance is one of the core values of everything that I build. And what is abundance really? If you look around in nature, I'm sitting here in my backyard, you realize that a lot of teaching is going on, whether the younger generations are observing the older ones, or whether it's actually rote time that the parents or the herd spends actually showing the routes, actually participating in the reps. And it's something for some reason that as human beings, we don't value that much. In the past, we had apprenticeships, we had people that came up before or after and that are making the conscious effort to pick up new people, to pick up a new soul that can take on their title, their value in society. Many of the greatest people in America are doing this now, creating entire institutions, educational reform, to make sure that whatever knowledge that they have gathered, whatever discipline, whatever spiritual approach, whatever philosophies they have gathered, that they are passing those on to as many people as possible. But it needs to start at a smaller scale. It really needs to be something that we do in every household. And to some degree we do. But I think the part that's missing is that humility. What I've heard a lot is people will say, well, I used to read a lot of books. I used to write. I used to fill anything else in. And the excuse is that kids and the career got in the way. But really what that means is that at some point those same people decided to themselves that they know enough to teach an entire lifetime worth of information, not knowing that perhaps the very people that they're teaching, perhaps my students, perhaps you, are actually way more intelligent than the teacher. And that goes to my third rule. It's the relationship that you have with the people that you're trying to teach that matters. That relationship is carved through trust, showing up consistently, actually getting the results that you claim you get, making sure that you are evaluating the entire breadth of what that student is going through to individualize the experience, giving options, being patient. All of these things are required not only for teaching, but also for being a parent, for being a good uncle, for being a good family member. At the end of the day, my friend, we really need to nail this in our own lives and have a sense of responsibility for the thing that we're actually building, to the point where every single time that I hire someone or I bring someone into the equation, I make sure that one of the first things that they learn is that they are not doing this job for themselves. They are doing this job for the group, the organization that they're a part of, and the next person that will take their role as they move their way on up. What an ambitious, cool thing to tell someone, that where you are starting now is not where you're going to end, that tomorrow may be different, that you are going to learn and evolve as a human being and be able to do that thing that you dream of. The only way that we can do that for someone else is if we do that for ourselves. And that's what I'm advocating for here. So on top of the interpersonal relationship, on top of being patient, there needs to be structure to teaching. Like what I was mentioning before, actually having written out PowerPoints, actually having written out PDFs, email campaigns, whatever it is, we need to have structure when we're teaching people. The beautiful part about structure is it can be wrong, and it's necessarily changeable, but at least we have a starting point. When you have a starting point, when you've structured something well enough, then iterating on top of that becomes a lot more intuitive. If you don't even have a starting point, if you don't have the bare bones, basic crap thing that we put together as leaders to begin with, how are we supposed to understand whether or not it's working? We'll have infinite variables. The sub point underneath this is the importance of data for leaders and teachers. We need to have automation and data to indicate whether or not our students, our colleagues, our workers, our partners are actually moving forward in those directions. And it can be as small as a bi-weekly check-in by people that are managing certain roles. To implement such a structure seems overwhelming, and it can be. But again, it's learning a new skill set. It's something that makes actually growing and scaling something a possibility, so that that small business owner doesn't end up exhausting themselves, getting into an injury, perhaps having a mortality, and the entire system around them collapse. Really, what it comes down to is teaching is a philosophy of sustainability. Without that commitment to actually trying to make our community stronger beyond our own lives, we're never going to develop into the teachers that are required. Food for thought, friend. I hope that everything that you're doing right now gets augmented a little bit, and you think about a way or multiple ways to put it into a digestible format for a 5-year-old to learn it 10 times as quickly as you did. Actualize your potential catalyst. This world needs you. Take care of yourself. If you made it to this far in the video, you know what to do. Smash that thumbs up. Throw me a comment. Let me know what it is about teaching that has caught your attention. Peace.